Every veteran has a story. A story of sacrifice, courage, humor, and heartache. Each week, Veteran Story Hour captures these remarkable stories firsthand in the voices of those who've served. Recorded live from the weekly Friday brunch in the Saluda, Virginia studio in Waynesboro. This is more than a podcast. It's a living history, preserving the legacy of America's heroes. You're listening to Veteran Story Hour, Voices of Valor, presented by Saluda, Virginia. Let's begin. It's my honor to welcome you to this very first episode. Not just of a podcast, but of something bigger, something needed. In towns and cities across the country, veterans return home to a world that doesn't always know how to receive them. Resources exist, but they're scattered, confusing, and too often out of reach. The transition out of military life isn't a moment. It's a long, winding road, and for too many, it's a lonely one. That's where this project begins. Voices of Valor is about connection. It's about letting veterans and those who serve alongside them in every sense of the word share their truth in their words. Sometimes it will be painful. Often it will be hopeful. Always it will be honest. We'll be releasing new episodes twice a month to begin, amplifying the stories, struggles, and triumphs that too often go unheard. From those who served in combat, to the families who served in silence, to the advocates working behind the scenes to build something better. There is no better place to begin than with Leah Hale, founder of Saluda, Virginia, a woman whose journey from military spouse to community visionary is a story of grit, compassion, and purpose. What began with a Friday brunch and a borrowed room has grown into a movement, a place where veterans from every era gather not just to be helped, but to help each other. Salute isn't just a nonprofit. It's a coalition, a catalyst, a second chance at beginning. So today, in our inaugural episode, we'll hear Leah's story, how it started, why it matters, and what it means for every veteran who's ever asked, "Where do I go now?" Ladies and gentlemen, Leah Hale. Saluda, Virginia is your baby? Is your brainchild, as in kind of your family? Help me understand how this gets started.
So, Saluda, Virginia, which is not only salute for the military, salute of the flag, it is also an acronym of Service Members All Living United Through Experiences. Salute is not only my baby. It started with a veterans brunch and a bunch of veterans who had ideas, and those ideas then become visions, and those visions then become a reality in this building. And I couldn't do it without the veterans I have in my corner and the veterans who are here to support Salute as well. They all tell me I'm the one who hit the ground running and took the ideas. But if it wasn't for their ideas, we wouldn't be where we're at. So it's a constant, and it still is that way. It's a constant building of their ideas, and we take them and we turn them into reality and vision, because basically it started as, what is the need for the veterans in the Valley? What are they lacking? What is it that they need? And the veterans gave me that, and then we turned it into Salute.
So it literally just starts with having breakfast?
It's exactly what it started with. We had a brunch that started with let me go all the way back. So I had a veteran who I worked with who started the brunch, and there was 3 veterans that showed up in his apartment complex in a conference room. We then was given the opportunity by Embrace Community Center in Waynesboro to utilize their large room, which was a blessing. We started in that large room with about 10 veterans every Friday. That has now grown to where we average 35 to maybe 70 veterans every Friday. I mean, we've had really large ones and we've still had really small ones. But the best thing about our brunch is it's just them coming together about how they can be a part of the community. It's not them just sitting here and eating breakfast. It's, hey, what's our next event? What's our next involvement? Where are we going next? What are we doing next? And so it's a constant, they just want to give back.
Right.
So like last Christmas, they literally cut and sewed homemade stockings and dropped them off at Valley Mission for homeless veterans. and they stuffed them with all of the needs: hand warmers, gloves, hats, scarves, hygiene products, snacks. And that's kind of where they want to be. They want to continue to give back to their community, and they just needed a place where they can continue to grow and do that. Now, did I think Salute was going to be what it is? Absolutely not. But every day it's a new thing, and it grows a little bit bigger.
And starting with a weekly Friday breakfast.
Yes.
Why do you even get started with that in the first place? You kind of touched on it just vaguely, which was I was working with a veteran. Help me and listeners understand kind of what do you mean by that? What do you mean you're working with a veteran?
So my job is through Valley Community Services Board. I'm the Service Member Veteran and Family Support Specialist. So when I got my job 3 years ago, I was told, I have no idea what to do. Go make this position.
Okay.
Basically, I was to connect our veterans to the government organizations for veterans. So Department of Veteran Services, the VA, different things like that. So I started with Valley Veterans. And from that, I called one of them, and they were like, I was like, what do you need? And their interest was they want to start a veterans group. Well, so we started a brunch. Then when we moved to Embrace, Valley asked me this massive question of, why is the brunch important? And they wanted me to describe it. And I was like, I can't. I don't know. To me, I'm just bringing food in, and they're sitting there eating and talking.
Sure.
So I sent out an email to the veterans who had already attended, and I said, what does brunch do for you? Well, then I got these emails back, and I have never been hit in the heart so hard of these brunches have saved my life. These brunches gave me a purpose. These brunches, I was suicidal, and now I have a place to go every Friday, a place where I belong. I had one who said he had served Vietnam twice and had never been proud of what he had done, but now with these brunches, he gets to talk to other Vietnam veterans, and they get to actually be proud of what they did when they served. And so then it became, I just sent those to Valley, and I was like, this is what your brunch is doing. You're paying me to put this brunch on, and this is the impact it's having. And they're like, absolutely, keep going. Well, from the brunch, we then transitioned into a Veterans Feed and Connect. We do it every 6 months. The Augusta Expo Center is the one helping us do it now, where we get one of their buildings. I bring in all the resources I speak to. Sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 20. And every veteran who comes through the door gets a free meal. So you get fed, but you also get connected to resources. Well, then that transpired into they want a center where they can get connected to those resources. And that's kind of how Salute fell into place. And we were searching for buildings, and a veteran walked into the brunch one day, and she was like, hey, I just left the commerce meeting, and there's a gentleman trying to rent out his building. And we came over and we looked at E&N Computers, and I cannot even put into words what a blessing they have been to us and to our community.
They're a neighbor here at this building.
Yeah, so they technically own the whole building. We just have the front side of their building, but just the partnership we've gained with them. Every Friday they come over and have bagels and coffee with the veterans. They get to interact. They've been a part of our community. And some of their employees are veterans, but the gentleman who owns the building is not a veteran, but he is a large supporter of our veteran community. And the stuff he is doing for us in this building has been amazing. And just partnering with us and being a part of it has been amazing, and allowing us to kind of invade his space and didn't know what was going to come of it because we didn't have any answers for him when he asked.
Sure.
So it's been amazing. But yeah, so starting with my position at Valley Community Services Board, it has transitioned our veterans into this, coalition of change for our veterans, and they've pushed, and they just want kind of a better community and better place for them.
So coalition definitely seems to be the word, because of all of it really is, as I walked in, and I'll put together kind of just a quick review, like highlight of walking around, because you were nice enough to kind of show me around the building and all these different things. But it really is a conglomerate of all of these services, and it makes sense to be able to try and connect, right? Because there's almost too many services that are out there. There's too many things to even, I could see it being like a whirlwind of I don't even know where to begin, let alone navigate the intricacies and the specifics of every one of these individual government agencies and organizations where they exist to give back, they exist to do good and to help this community of people across the country.
Yes.
But a lot of times it's way too complicated to be able to navigate. What is the most common group of veterans that you have? You referenced the Vietnam War veterans. What is the gamut as of right now that you guys are serving?
So when we started, our largest population was Vietnam veterans. We have since picked up a few of every generation of veterans. We've even helped recently a World War II veteran. So it's amazing to hear and see, but also just to kind of see how they compare their stories. So like one who may have served in Afghanistan compared to one who served in Vietnam, but just the camaraderie they have when they come together and they can talk about that. One of my regulars to brunch, I was standing outside and he come outside and he was just smiling from ear to ear. And he was like, "You will not believe this." And I was like, "What happened?" He was like, "I just met another Vietnam veteran who served in the exact same unit as I served in a year after me." And he talked about that he went up on this mountain and he put a flag up there. Well, the flag had gotten torn down and this other veteran had been the one to replace that exact same flag that he had put up there. And they compared pictures. And I mean, it was just amazing to see like their stories connect. Mm-hmm. And they've lived in this town together for all these years and didn't know that each other existed. So now they have this place where they can come and they can connect and they can learn. And it kind of gives them that also that, I guess, bigger purpose. And so then when we pull resources in and we have them in here, we kind of pull them in on brunch days and they present to our veterans. And when they present to our veterans, it may not affect them, but it affects somebody they know. And so they'll go and they'll take the brochures back to those people, and then that brings new people in the building, and it kind of just continues. But my whole purpose, like I've told all of my resources and organizations, is I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I want to bring awareness to the people who are already out there doing it. They're doing amazing things, but there's so many out there that they just aren't getting the awareness that they deserve. Right. So that's kind of our whole purpose, is just to bring them all in here, give them the awareness that they deserve, and kind of connect our veterans in the same extent and give them the help and the support that they deserve. So it's kind of that win-win situation. We're helping those organizations make those connections, but we're also helping our veterans make those connections as well.
Now, when I was reviewing kind of the mission statement and I was putting together what I wanted to say for the intro, the concept of transitioning from military life to civilian life.
Yes.
This is a major hurdle.
Yes, absolutely. So Salute is phenomenal with helping that transition, because Salute, it's a shell. And that's the thing, is a lot of people think it's an organization. It is an organization, but it's a shell for all of us organizations to collaborate together and help with that transition. So we can connect through Valley Community Services Board. I can connect you with organizations who help with jobs, organizations who help with education, organizations who help with financial support. So being available to our veterans to get them connected to those entities. I have so my master's is in military psychology, and I've spoke to many people that there's a lot of studies on PTSD, and I'm not negating that PTSD is important. It is very important, but there's not very much research on the transition from military to civilian life and what that does to service members and their families. My husband's a veteran. When we transitioned out of the military, I felt lost. It was a whole new, people don't understand, military is its own world. We have police departments, fire stations, grocery stores, gas stations. It's all on post. And it's its own, it's like you go out and you shop in the civilian world, but you come back to your life in the military world. Your insurance is paid for. Everything's covered. You're told what to do. You're told what not to do.
When to be there.
Yeah. How to be there, what to wear there. And I guess one of the things I tell everybody, the biggest issue is when we first got married, I had never left home. I wasn't a military brat. I wasn't raised in the military world. And we moved to New Mexico, which was 3,000 miles across country from where I grew up.
Sure.
And we get there, I'm 19 years old. My husband drops me off and he has to go on a mission. So for 2 weeks, I'm in this brand new place with no friends, don't know anybody, don't know where I'm going, don't know anything about the area, and I'm stuck. And this community revolved around me when we were in New Mexico, and it was a beautiful community with friendships and camaraderie, and it was so great. When we left New Mexico, I broke all over again. So then after that, I didn't build that camaraderie. I didn't have close friends. I had acquaintances, but I never let them get too close to me because I never wanted that hurt again.
Right.
So even now, we've been in Waynesboro almost 6 years, and I have acquaintances. But anytime somebody starts to get really close, I kind of back off. Like, we have no plans of going anywhere. We're stable. We're situated. We're here to stay. But I still struggle with that connection point because it hurts so many times because we moved all the time. Army needs of the Army. They tell you where to go, when to go, and how to do it.
Right.
So then when we transitioned out, I didn't know how to file for insurance stuff when I got my papers for work. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff because the military did it all for us. We had TRICARE. It was covered. It was everything. But where he didn't get out his retirement, now only he has the VA insurance. So I had to then find insurance and get all of that stuff. And finding a job with a resume that's 4 pages long, it's a difficult situation. People look at it and they're like, what's wrong with you? And so in 1 year, in 18 months, we moved 3 times. And in all 3 places, I had a position. Well, I worked one for 5 months, one for 6 months. And so then people are like, well, you're not stable. You're not giving me commitment.
Right.
So there's so much that goes into that transition out. But even on the veteran side of it, so that's the family side of it. On the veteran side of it, they struggle with that. The civilian world is a lot more relaxed.
Oh, yeah, you no kidding.
Yeah.
But it's funny if you don't step back and realize what a hindrance that is when you're trained to be just, you don't have to think.
Yeah,
Your
you're trained to be there at this time, and if you're not there, then you're in trouble.
Right.
And so then when you get there, you're given a list. This is what you need to do. This is how long you have to do it. This is the SOP to follow to do it. So then when you get into the civilian world and you're just thrown out there, go do your job with no management, no, hey, checking in, how you doing? Did you follow that SOP? None of that. It's very spiraling for the veteran as well because they're like, what do I do? Like for this many years, I've been told when, how, what, and why. And now you're just sitting me at a desk and telling me, okay, make sure you get this done. And there's no direction, no order, no micromanaging of it. And so it struggles there too. Like they have to transition their mindset out of that as well, which is a difficult situation. I mean, we've, like I said, been here 6 years. And my husband still struggles with that struggle out of the not constantly having like an SOP to follow.
Yeah, that was one of the first conversations we had when we first met to even do one of the tennis episodes that you joined us with, because it was talking about kind of my background within fitness and your husband's as well, and the fact that it is entrepreneurship is is probably one of the most deadly things you can attempt to try and jump into, just because you have no schedule.
Yes.
You have nobody that's breathing down to your neck. It's up to you to do whatever needs to be done on any given day.
Yeah.
And when you're, like you said, when you're used to, 0500 to 2300, your day is scheduled.
Yes.
And now it's not.
Yeah.
Could be quite deadly.
It can. And then, it's just all the emotions of coming out and people, it's a different atmosphere. The military, you're treated by your rank most of the time, even as a spouse. It's what your spouse's rank is what you're treated like. And
Sure.
And I told him, I said, it's still funny because when I first went in, like I said, I wasn't raised around the military. I would walk through the grass and my husband would grab me and be like, stop. You don't walk through Sergeant Major's grass. Well, now still to this day, I don't walk through the grass. I have to take the long way around because I was trained. You don't walk through the grass. And so it's crazy because you try to find that median or that happy place in the civilian world, and it's hard. It's really hard. We were just talking the other day about renovating our house. Well, we've never had those options. We always lived on base, and in 3 years we moved, so you never put any renovations into a home.
Right.
So it's kind of just that mindset, that transition that, you don't have somebody telling you when, what, how, and why. You have a boss and then you go home. Well, in the military, you have the military and you have the military. And so they tell you that. And I think another, thing that I've always listened to is when we first got married, like I said, I was 19 and one of my husband's NCOs pulled me into his office one day after we got married. And he said, I need to have a conversation with you. A non-commissioned officer is kind of like your boss.
Yeah.
High-ranked manager. And he pulled me in the office and he says, we need to have a conversation. And he said, I want to set you up for success, so we're going to have this conversation. And so I sat down as a 19-year-old terrified because I was like, what are we about to talk about?
And so we're clear, right? This isn't your manager.
No.
This is your husband's manager.
Yes.
I was just pulling you in for a one-on-one.
Yes.
Okay.
And he says, He said, I know you're married. He said, but he said, if the Army wanted your husband to have a wife, they would have issued him a wife.
That is the most, yep.
And if the Army wanted your husband to have a family, they would have issued him a family. The Army does not care that he has a wife because they did not issue him one, and they don't care that he has a family because they did not issue him one. He said it's the needs of the Army first. You will always be second, and that's something you've got to adjust to.
Right.
And I still to this day tell my husband, like, I think, honestly, we would have been divorced had I not been given that tidbit at the start. Because, like I said, the first 2 weeks we got to base, he was gone.
Right.
And I was like, we just got here. What do you mean? He's still on leave. And it was, I don't care. You know, it is what it is. I mean, even our wedding, so we got married and then we had our wedding later. And even then I had to battle with them to let him come home for the wedding. I was like, just a few hours. I mean, I just need him to walk down the aisle and then I will put him back on a plane and send him back. But I can't get this money back. I just need him here as an appearance. And so I feel like, honestly, if I wouldn't have been given that advice, I wouldn't have been able to adjust to that, because in the civilian world, it's your family and that's first. That's priority.
It should be.
Yes, it should be. But in the military, it is not.
Yeah.
We're second. It is needs of the Army. It is, I mean, or needs of the military, I guess. We were Army. But yeah, it's constant. And, you know, I hear a lot of the veterans, and I talk to some of the other spouses who come in here, but a lot of the veterans talk about how the spouse's job is sometimes the hardest, because you're just left, and you're left to figure out the move, and you're left to figure out the path you're going to take from one place to the next place, and you're left to figure out how to pack the boxes. And
yeah, you are the other woman.
Yes, and so you're left to deal with all of the other stuff.
All the other stuff.
And they deal with the military, and
right.
So we don't have a typical marriage where my husband handles the bills and I just do everything else. I'm still in the mindset I handle it all because he would be gone, and
right.
I would have to handle it all, whether it, you know, needed to be done or not. And he still fusses about how I pack boxes, because I learned to pack the most I could pack in a box, so there was less boxes I had to put in a truck. And so I don't know, it's just that transition it is so hard. It is mentally, physically, emotionally, it is very difficult.
And it's a fraternity and a sorority that no matter how many, like, sports loves to make connections to the military.
Yes.
Right? It's super, super common, right? We're going to battle. We're going to war. You want to have you're going to be in a foxhole mentality. These are all phrases that get used all the time throughout, especially within probably contact sports is probably the most that uses it. You know, it's your battle buddy. If your buddy drops his rifle, you got to pick it up. Like, these are all... Yes. You know, we even had one of the Black Hawk Down, that whole story. We had one of those pilots came and spoke to the team, and the team, like, tried to do all these connections to it. And I was fortunate enough to play football with a couple different veterans, one of which was he dropped in as a Ranger in October of 2001. So the towers get hit, and then he drops in, paratroops in, and serves 2 tours as a Ranger. Came back, went to school, was a camera guy for the football team, just filming practices. And one of the coaches saw him messing around before one of the practice started. This guy's like 6'4", 6'5", 235 pounds, and is like just cock diesel. Mm-hmm. And they're like, he's throwing the football like 50 yards. Like, he just is this massive dude. And he's like, why are you filming?
Right.
He's like, I don't know. So he joins the team as a walk-on and had a gas. All the coaches are just screaming at everybody, swearing you up and down, trying to belittle you. And he is just so excited to be here.
Yeah.
When it came to running and sprints, he's running with the skill guys, even though he's a lineman. Like, they had him it was, his mentality was so different. Mm-hmm. And, but he was one of the first ones to be like, it helped put it into better perspective of, this is still a game, you guys. Like, this is still a sport.
Yes.
And he never spoke about any, like, nothing.
Seven won't. If they have war stories, they don't.
You got no stories from him. And now I think he's the florist, which means he's like in the CIA or something terrible.
Yes.
But but it was good to have that reminder, which is, there is the military, and then there's like sports.
Yes.
And But the point of me sharing the story, which is a fraternity and a sorority that you're a part of, when you're part of such a unique group of humans,
Yes.
it doesn't matter how badly you want to connect and be a part of that group. It's impossible to understand from, say, a civilian,
Yes.
as a civilian, to want to be able to help, want to be able to encourage support of this particular community. But it would be even more alienating for these folks, for people that are veterans, which just is nobody understands what I'm going through. They say they do. They say they understand, and I just know that they don't.
That goes back. So when I started, like I said, 3 years ago, when we moved our brunch to Embrace and we grew in population, there's this one veteran, and I tell her all the time, she's one of my favorite people in the world now, but she came in and shook my hand, and the first question that come out of her mouth was, "Are you a veteran?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I'm not." And she stepped back, and she is a female veteran, and she is a phenomenal female veteran. And she goes, "Well, got my eye on you. You've got a lot to prove. You better be doing this for the right reasons."
Sure.
Oh, I was intimidated. I was scared to death. Like every week I'd come in Friday and make sure everything was perfect. And I was like, I've got to make sure I'm not doing this for the wrong reasons. I've got to make sure that everything's going how it's supposed to go. It's got to be perfect. And so the other day we were talking, and she was talking about people not understanding veterans, civilians not understanding, and kind of the roundabout way of like, female spouses are not the same as a female veteran, and they're not. But how when she walks into a room of veterans, she's automatically looked at as a spouse.
Sure.
Not a veteran. And I've witnessed that with a couple of our female veterans. I've actually seen it happen. And it's like, no, they actually served. And anyway, she was ranting about this, and I looked at her and I was like, I'm not a veteran. And she stopped and she stepped back. She's like, no. You're close enough. Like, you've done all this stuff. You've proved you belong now. You're
Right.
one of us. And I was like, but I'm not. And she's like, but you know what I mean. Like, you understand where I'm coming from. And so it's amazing to see, I started with this, oh, you've got a lot to prove with her. And I mean, if you mentioned her name in public, they're like, oh, she's on your side. Oh, you've got it made. She's phenomenal. But now it's she jokes and laughs, and she was like, when we come in, we started talking about this, I could have never seen this become the thing it's become. And she is a regular at our brunch. I mean, she's here every Friday, late every Friday, but she's here every Friday. And it's great to kind of joke now, because like I tell her all the time, I said, when I first met you, I was terrified of you. I was terrified to let you down, because I knew if I did, my days of working with veterans was over. And so now she's one of my biggest advocates and best supporters. But it is that line of, if you're not a veteran or you're not part of that community, then they look at you and you got to prove yourself to them. Like, how can you come in and tell me you understand me? Because you don't. And that's words I'd never use with any of our veterans. Like, I will never look at them and say, I understand what you're going through, because I don't.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of times they can't look at each other and say that, because all of their stories are so different that they really truly don't understand each other 100%. They feel what the other one is going through. 100% of it they don't understand. And I think that's part of the best thing about this building is there's organizations here that's what they do, is they just sit and talk. And like you said, war stories, or you didn't get any stories from that athlete. Here, you won't ever hear a war story if the person actually stepped into the battlefield. You won't ever hear their war stories. But some of the stories that come out of this building, I couldn't make up. Like, there are days I'm standing there crying. I'm laughing so hard at some of the stuff they tell me they did in the military, or that there's one gentleman, and he's one of our cooks. He makes sure the food's ready every Friday. He picks up the eggs for us. And some days he talks, and I look at him, I was like, there's no way. Like, that could not have happened. But he'll tell you about the cat and mouse chase that he had with an FBI agent while he was AWOL at one point. And, sitting in the bar and seeing this FBI agent on the other side, and then going out and calling him and be like, haha, try again, kind of things. And it's stories like that keeps this going.
Sure.
Because it's positive, it's impactful. I mean, we have one veteran who, if you've seen him walk through the door, you're like, oh, he's so itty bitty, what did he do in the military? And he's a ladies' man. He's about 80 years old, well, maybe a little over 80, and he's a ladies' man. So every day I make a big scene about him, and he was flirting with me and this female veteran I was just talking about, and pulled out his ID card to show us what he looked like when he was in service.
Right.
And the female veteran happened to see his MOS and realized, which is their job in the military, he was a Navy SEAL in Vietnam. And it was like, there's no way. Like, you see this sweet man walk in the door, and he probably did stuff that was harsher than Rambo. So it's kind of like you get to know these people, and you're like, gosh, you know. But a lot of people, and that's another thing, is a lot of people judge veterans. You see a veteran on the application, and everybody's like, oh, I'm veteran-friendly hiring. But then you see veteran, and it's like, oh, do they have PTSD? What did they do? And it's an automatic judgment. But they are some of the best people you'll ever meet and have in your corner. I mean, there's a veterans bikers group that is involved with Salute, and they're my favorite people in the world. I would turn to them most of the time before I turn to a lot of people that I know. I mean, because they're trustworthy and they're honest and they're going to get it done. But there's so much happening out of this building. It's inspiring.
Well, there's a great, it's from the Bible. And the idea of faith without works is dead, right? And this notion of, and it's where the initial pushback is, right, that you get from this female veteran from your story, which is lip service is cheap. Mm-hmm. The only way that I know, so that faith without works, right, is that like, you're going to show me that you're in this for the right reasons.
Yes.
And through your actions, I'll know kind of what's in your heart. Yes. I'll know if you're here the way you're supposed to be here. And that would be very gratifying, right? It would be very satisfying to know that like I've earned my way in. It isn't just because I'm the wife of a veteran. It's not because I'm around or I smile or joke with everybody. It's like, no. It's the hard work. And it's because you're probably talking to, not probably, you're talking to a section of society that has so consistently and routinely been let down by people that were supposed to be there to help them, that for sure that guard is up. The same way for you, the guard is up with, I can't get connected with anybody because I move and it tears my heart out and I'm just not willing to go through that again. It's how many times has that happened? Yeah. And being able to have a place like what you all have built and are building to be able to be a safe haven, to be a place that connects these veterans with the right organizations, with each other. Yes. Like you said, these two men that essentially have lived in not a very big city, right? A very pretty small town, and yet don't even understand how closely connected they were. As you think about what you've done so far, so you all, how long has Salute of Virginia even been in existence, this entity as it exists right now?
So we were incorporated on Valentine's Day of 2024. So we are brand spanking new. So we had our grand opening September 21st, and it has grown since then. The things that we have coming out, the organizations, I mean, like I said, we've got Valley Community Services Board in the building. You have Valley United for Veterans, who helps veterans get housing repairs and ramps done and different things like that to support them that, you know, maybe they had an accident and they can't get in their house now. Well, now they've got a ramp that they can get in their house. You got Brotherhood on Wheels, the Blue Ridge chapter, which is mostly veterans, and they're doing a toy drive, and they do different things for the veterans. You have Living Waters Freedom Initiative, which is a PTSD peer-to-peer group, and they meet once a week, and it's just kind of like the brunch is. And the guy who runs that comes to the brunch pretty often. It's just a lot of us groups. We're hoping to pull Healing Waters, which is a fly fishing group, and they come in and they looked at the building and they're like, oh, this is phenomenal. We're a block and a skip away from the river, so we can do our class and then go down there and cast our rods. And so hopefully Healing Waters, I mean, we're working on getting transportation in here for our veterans so that they can get to and from their VA appointments, because we have a lot who can't drive to Salem.
Sure.
But Salem's their only option. So, you know, you've got an hour and a half drive. They can't make that drive. So we're hoping to pull a transportation organization into the building, and that way they can get transportation from Waynesboro and Stanton to Salem for their appointments and making those big VA appointments.
You have a fitness organization?
Yes, we have Team Red, White, and Blue in the building for fitness. We have Tech for Troops for competitive gaming. Our veterans can compete at a collegiate level in gaming.
So that's esports.
Esports, yes. We have the fitness. We have, oh my gosh, I could keep going forever. We have Veterans Moving Forward, which is a service dog organization that we have access to through the building. It's just so much. We've got direct access to Virginia Department of Veterans Services. Brighton Stanton, they are phenomenal. They've got so many benefits. I mean, even as a spouse myself, I went to one of their events and they looked at me and they're like, I told them I was back in school. They was like, you should have talked to us. And I was like, why? They was like, because if you would have picked a state school, we would have paid for it. And I was like, well, I wish I would have known because now I'm paying for it. And so there's so many benefits out there for our veterans and their families and their spouses. And there's so many benefits in the VA. We've made connections with the Vet Center, and the Vet Center's planning to come here, and she could file disabilities right on the spot. We have a shot clinic from the VA who wants to come here and do flu and COVID and different vaccines for our veterans. So we've got VA connections that want to come and kind of host stuff through Salute as well, so that our veterans have access to those that they don't have access to, because the closest one is Salem. And then if you're attached to Charlottesville, your closest one is Richmond, and Harrisonburg, your closest one's West Virginia. So everybody's driving an hour or so more away to get to a VA. So it's just being able to provide them those minor things here, but also give them that access to their major appointments at their VAs as well. So Salute, it's a shell of amazing people. We also host the 3 organizations for Waynesboro, the American Legion, the DAV, and the VFW. And all 3 of them lost their brick and mortars for different reasons and circumstances and all of that. And they were all meeting at Golden Corral once a month. Well, you get a meal, but they were paying for the meal and no privacy. So now they have a building where they can meet, and they all 3 have executive offices so that they can run private meetings as well and build their memberships and host events again. And being a part of those organizations and just seeing what Salute has done just for them, just for their monthly meetings, has been phenomenal. We want to continue to reach out to other organizations and different things like that. And we've had a bunch of major donors and sponsors come in and just help us off the ground floor. And so it's been amazing, because I'm not originally from Waynesboro. We grew up further south. It's been amazing to see how supportive Waynesboro community is for our veteran service members and their families. I mean, the community itself has just been mind-blowing to just see what they will do and move to make sure that our veterans get what they need.
And you all are definitely positioning yourself to be essentially, it's if you know a veteran.
Yes.
If someone is getting ready to retire, if someone's ready to finish their career in the military and step into civilian life.
Yes.
And they're here in Virginia, and certainly here in the Stanton, Augusta, greater Waynesboro area,
Yes.
Salute of Virginia needs to be like the very first stop.
Yes.
Of all the examples that you just gave, all the way from you're wanting to go back to school, make sure you do it the right way.
Yes.
Make sure you do it the most beneficial way, all the way to every one of those examples that you've given. What are some future initiatives?
Well, there's a ton of future initiatives. Well, right now we partner with Mental Health of America, Augusta. They're one of our biggest nonprofit partnerships. And through them, we're using their Skill Bridge program, which is a program where our veterans they're retiring or they're getting out, and for 6 months, the military will pay them to be a part of a nonprofit. So we have that position available. So if there's anybody in the Skill Bridge program, we're one of those options to come and help run this building and be a part of what we're doing. Our future initiatives really are just to make sure we're able to help as much as we can. There are no paid positions through our board or our organization currently. All of our money is going 100% either back into Salute or back into our veteran community. We have partnerships with a lot of organizations, so also just being able to kind of expedite the VA grants and stuff. So we have people that are helping our service members and their families get the paperwork that they need to file these things. Mm-hmm. But being able to find somebody who's certified that can actually sit down with the people and help them through these paperwork, through the grants, through the services, and then expedite it so that we can help get stair lifts and disability ramps and bathroom renovations for handicapped disabilities. There's so much. I mean, my mind is full of always Definitely getting more sponsors, getting more donors. We're open in the building 5 days a week from 9 to 5. So having organizations donate snacks and drinks and stuff that our veterans can come in and just sit and hang out and talk and enjoy themselves. But I think our biggest initiative is just to bring more awareness to what we're doing and bring more veterans in so that we can help and support more veterans and also get our veterans out into the community. We're already connected with Waynesboro High School pretty heavily, doing a lot of veteran stuff through them and doing the Veterans Appreciation Night on Friday. We've worked the concession stands. But that's what I think people don't understand is our veterans want to give back. They don't want to just keep getting.
Right.
They want to give back as well.
Well, ultimately, their careers of service.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Right,
service is in their blood. And
Right.
so they just want to serve the community they're a part of. So we're just trying to gather those people. I mean, we have 2 veterans who, and this is another initiative we're working on, is there's a farm in Lyndhurst. And currently it's called a military village. She's got all these memorials and different things. The lady who owns it's lost her husband in service. But we have 2 veterans who's been going out there and helping her clean up the goat field and donate chickens and move stuff around. And so we're trying to make this farm a tranquility place for our veterans to just go and sit and have this ability to be a part of it. One of the veterans is farm oriented. He knows what he's doing. The other one came out of IT. He had never farmed a day in his life.
Sure.
But he is out there so often now, the goats come up to him like he belongs there. And so it's getting those people connected where they can serve.
Right.
They all just want to serve. They just want to give back. And I can't tell you how many of my veterans ask me every week, what can I do? Is there anything that needs to be done this week? What can we do to do this? And so if there's anything anybody needs done, if you come through Salute, there's a chance we got veterans who will do it for you, who will help you with it, who will volunteer to be a part of it. And that's kind of what we're about. We just want to be good stewards for our community.
And so open Monday through Friday.
Yes.
9 to 5.
Yes.
So the address is 215 5th Street.
Yes.
In Waynesboro. Yes. Come and just come and check out the place. It seems
Yes.
like that's the easiest place to start. Brunch is on Fridays.
Yes, from 10:30 to 12 every Friday. Always a hot meal. Panera donates to us on Thursday nights, so we do have Panera, some bagels, pastries, but always a hot meal. And I promise, if you leave without a good conversation, it's your own fault because it is always a hoot. Most of the time, it's given me a rough way to go. One day I stood up to make an announcement, and I'm not tall. It's never been something anybody has ever called me or complimented me on. And so I stood up in front of the whole room, and one of my veterans looks up and goes, "Are you going to stand up?" And the whole room just bellows out. Like, you can't even not laugh with them at the joke against you because they're bellowing. Like, I mean, it's like deep belly laughter.
Well, and you're part of the group.
Yes.
Like if you and talk about like civilians not understanding, it is there's an element of when you are part of an in group, you're going to get destroyed on an hourly to minute basis where if they are not making fun of you, if you're not being made fun of and you're not making fun of one of them, and you're too sensitive to everything that's going on. It's, oh, you're not one of us clearly.
Yes.
Like it was always just like you hit your friends harder, you talk about them worse. It's like the closer you are with someone, the worse you are to them.
We have one veteran who he just says there's no filter from his brain to his mouth, and it just comes out. And so one day he was spitting off, and I looked at him, and I was like, "Oh, that's," and he looked me dead in the face, and he's in his late 70s, and goes, "What are you, woke now?" And I couldn't even take him serious. And I was like, no. He was like, everybody needs thick skin. Like, I remember back in the day when it was your mama jokes and this and that, and you made jokes because that's what it was. And so if you don't have thick skin, Salute may not be the place for you because they are hilarious.
Right.
But like you said, they're going to be brutal and they're going to pick on you and we're going to make fun of everything. And that is it. It is just having fun and enjoying each other. And it's funny to watch new people come through the door and how fast they initiate them. Once they find out they're a veteran, you're initiated. It's it. You know, we have people bring their grandchildren. I actually have 2 cows on my desk because one of the veterans' grandchildren promised me 2 cows for $5 and he would deliver them to my house. Well, I never let him live it down because, you know, that's a heck of a deal, $5 for 2
Jersey cows. Absolutely.
And so they went and bought 2 toy cows from Tractor Supply and brought them to me, and now they're on my desk. So it's just the fun and the humor and the enjoyment and the the joking, and I make it a priority to get to know each veteran. I at least know their first names and, when they serve. But then it becomes a whole nother thing. You become almost like it's like a family here.
Right.
I mean, Salute is 100%. I tell my husband all the time, Fridays are my favorite days of my work week. They are the best day Valley pays me to come to work because I enjoy being a part of what's happening in here. But hearing their ideas, and I mean, they'll come in with papers and pamphlets and, hey, have you heard about this? Did you know this event's happening? Can we go do this? And it's a great, and just hearing that they have a purpose, they have a reason, they have a place.
Yeah.
And that was my whole initiative. It's just a place for our veterans. I mean, the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV didn't have buildings. So we didn't have a place. And now they have a place that's theirs. It's just theirs. It's, 100 supported of them and honors them. And so it's been great. I mean, it's been phenomenal. It's took off so fast, I didn't believe it.
So if anybody connects with any of the services you've talked about that comes from veteran background, or you want to be able to help support, any of the things you're talking about, you have events that you would love to be able to have volunteers come at, or you'd love to be able to have veteran participation, that all falls into your wheelhouse. What's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
If you go to our website, saluteofvirginia.org, you can get our Gmail. I monitor that on a regular basis. We have another veteran who monitors it for me. Send me a message. We should have a phone line up and running soon, and once we have that, it'll also be on our website. I mean, just reach out. We volunteer at Dynamic Aviation for the last we did their Employee Appreciation Night / Army Birthday. We're going to do their Christmas party. I love it. Our veterans love it. I mean, they volunteered in the concession stands, and
Yes,
Miss Dawn was impressed and wanted them back. And so they love to and I mean, gosh, they had so much fun. It was so funny listening to them in that concession stand and getting back into like making their brains work and calculate and all of that. But they love to volunteer. They love to give back, and they love to be in the community. So it's if we're able to fit the event in, we'll definitely do the event.
So that's Salute of Virginia, all one word, Virginia spelled out, .org.
Yes. And so go to the website, get in contact with us. There's a tab on there to connect with us. And there's also a tag if you have a veteran you want to refer, you can give us their information and we'll reach out to them directly. I'm usually pretty good about reaching out as soon as I get a notice on the website and making sure that we are including everybody who reaches out to us. And we're very transparent and what's the word I'm looking for? Quick to respond, responsive. That's the word I'm looking for.
There you go.
Yes. So yeah, it's definitely, it's taken off. It's taken a village. It is turning into a beautiful thing.